now.
Listen, I know that I'm a stickler for details. I come from the old school, learn it from my dad, and I know our next guest, Bill Chow's from the old school. I've heard in past places that I've worked that I wasn't that well liked because guess what? I held people accountable. And also guess what? We won!
How about that?
Details, details, details. Details win, details lose. Are you winning now?
This is the Rod Pedersen Show.
How about that? Welcome to the RP Show. Thank you, Rick Regan. Welcome to Canada's daytime sports talk show. It's true. I'm the Oprah Winfrey of sports talk.
Joey Behar.
No, wrong show. You'd be the Dr. Oz.
Oprah Winfrey, yeah, Dr. Oz.
Right.
Sorry. I get Whoopi Goldberg just ingrained in my head. I heard Whoopi Goldberg, even though you said.
I'm RP, and he's Darren DuPont. He's the co-host. We're ready to talk sports here for a full 2 hours, the first of which is on Game Plus TV, live across North America and over 1 million homes. How do you like us so far? Thanks for joining us for coffee today. Big day today coming up. I'm excited about this. The CEO of Woodbine Racetrack in Toronto, Jim Lawson. This is a guy who I don't know that an hour is going to be enough for, because not only is he the president and CEO of Woodbine Racetrack, but he's also the former chairman of the CFL's Board of Governors. He's got a lot of depth of knowledge there, of course, and he'll have some thoughts on the CFL season cancellation, but also a former pro hockey player from the American Hockey League. And as we found out when our show board went up, because Tim Hunter's coming on, the Flames great, that those two played together in the minors way back in the day.
Wow.
Can you believe that?
That's hockey, right?
That's hockey. Right. So we're excited about that. Jim Lawson, Tim Hunter from Fubo Television in New York City, Julie Stewart-Binks. You know her from ESPN, Fox Sports, and all the rest. And the great Costa Americas. I got to say this. When I show up for work every day and I see Costa Americas out front in his Mercedes, I get really excited. I'm going to work with Costa Americas every day. He's a CBC legend, everybody, for those that don't know. So those were the guests. And also, by the way, you want to hit the quick 6 show topics, guys, if you don't mind? Are you familiar? Jordan's not here. Jordan Blodgett.
That's a big deal.
Our director that never gets enough credit. Trust me, he's pointed that out. This is the first show that he's ever missed. 300 shows, and a 301... he can't make it.
Never taken a holiday, and he's not taking a holiday today either.
He's going to a family funeral. So when he left, I said, I can't say have fun, Jordan, but do whatever you do and have a good day. But Jordan's not here, our director, who's done all 300 shows. Amazing until today. So here are the show topics. The quick 6 show topics here in the Rollout for Flooring Superstore. I've got about 6 or 7 more, Darren, past those 6. But number 1, NHL. You could call it moving day in the NHL on Wednesday. Do you know why? Because a lot of teams moved on.
Oh, yeah.
Tampa Bay, Colorado, Boston all move on to round 2 of the Stanley Cup playoffs. Vegas was the first team to do it the night before. Point 2. Is St. Louis, Vancouver the best of the first round series?
In my mind. I mean, I jumped on the Canucks bandwagon too, but it's highly entertaining. You know, Vancouver's speed, and we haven't really taken them seriously.
Did the camera stick?
We haven't really taken them seriously, Vancouver. Even when they went up 2-0, you know, and Bo Horvat's doing his thing, we thought this is great. But then, you know, St. Louis was asleep. And then they woke up and won a couple of games, and you're like, oh, okay, it's going to be a short series now. St. Louis is just going to roll. Then they went up 3-1 last night, and it's like, okay, you know. But Vancouver battled back, and the way they came back and then held off the flurry late. Vancouver's for real. Got goaltending. They got speed. Their back end's pretty good. They're a young team that's seems to be able to do it without experience.
Well, I said I'm enjoying the daytime Stanley Cup playoff shows. You cover the nighttime Stanley Cup playoff shows, unless Vegas is playing, and then I watch for sure. But that's usually my evening Netflix time.
Yep.
With Mrs. P. And we're getting really into, well, not getting into Animal Kingdom. We're down to the last episode of Animal Kingdom. And it's got a very fitting end, Darren.
All right.
I'll just leave it there. But anyways, you got that covered. I just feel like I'm missing something in the Vancouver-St. Louis series. I'm going to have to watch. Katie Fleury, as I pause the fun here, she says, your poll question is hard to answer. And I would say, well, thank you for that, because we want to make you think here at the RP Show. And the poll question today for Capital Auto Mall Universal Collision Center is this. What do you watch the hashtag RP Show for? Football coverage, hockey coverage, RP's rants, or other? And football coverage is winning by 49% of the vote, but we just put it up, so that may change.
All right.
Raj Rance is next at 26%, then hockey coverage, then other. And I can't imagine what the other is. But the guys, all our viewers, guys and gals, heard the intro coming into the show where I just absolutely melted down on the intern yesterday, Alan, on the air. He's not here today. He didn't quit, did he?
No.
Okay.
He did not. Doesn't it feel like Harvey Specter in Suits?
I don't know.
If you're here tomorrow, I know you're still in, right? If you're not here tomorrow, then I'll have your answer. But today was the day for Alan to be off. It's not, he's still fine.
Okay.
He's good.
I kind of felt bad, but I kind of didn't. We were talking about this in our morning meeting. I grew up being yelled at, and I deserved it. So when I got into sports and entertainment, when all my bosses, the coaches, the managers were all yelling at me, it's like, whatever. Did you say something? Right? Where these kids now have never been yelled at in their lives.
Right.
So I'm not yelling. I'm just yelling. Doesn't mean I hate them.
No, of course not. You got to be able to separate that. You're all part of this team, but
I just lost it.
But we grew up in there, and I was saying, you would, break something at your dad's down the basement, and then you'd be floating around upstairs, and you'd hear him go downstairs, and then discover it, and then you just gotta book it and go hide it under your bed. Because you know it's coming.
You know it's coming. So I just think Generation Z now, these kids have never had that. They've never had the fear. So when I melt down on these young kids on the staff, it's like they think it's the end of the world. And it's not. We love them. They're not on the team if we don't love them.
Like family.
Yeah.
Yes.
Moving on. Point 3. The news came down shortly after we went off the air on Wednesday that CFL players will be eligible for the Canada Emergency Wage Subsidy. So that's great. All players that are under contract in the CFL will be eligible for it. The teams are going to apply for it, and it'll be for the months of July to December. So that's great. It's not to say that it's been granted, but at least the CFL is looking into it. I don't know if this was going on all from day one. I kind of don't think that it was. This is an after effect of the season being canceled, obviously, because they thought they were going to be paying players, but at least the players are now going to be paid something. Mm-hmm. How much, we don't know. Point 4, the Stampeders released linebacker Nate Hawley to pursue NFL opportunities, and I think that's just fantastic. Bravo to John Huffnagel and the Calgary Stampeders for doing that. It's very humane. Now, would we have a problem with any players being let out of their deals to go pursue NFL opportunities with the deal that if they don't make it, they come back, you have to go back to your CFL team? Everybody would agree with that, wouldn't they?
I'm cool with that. And if you make it, then that's the only way your contract becomes terminated, is if you sign a contract and you make a team. But, yeah, you got to come back to the team that granted you the release, I would think. That would make sense to me. Loyalty. Loyalty means something.
Our Navy friend Donald Mitchell, watching from the Middle East, he says, I watch for the football talk. The rest is just icing on the top. JR in Cranbrook, BC, says, in my young days, the big threat was out to the woodshed. It's just, people think it's just a saying now. It wasn't. You're taken out to the woodshed to have the tar beat out of you. For us, my dad had a paddle under the radiator in the kitchen of the farmhouse. He'd open the cupboards, pull out the paddle, and it was just, you knew it was coming. 100% of the time, I deserved it, as did my brothers. We had a jack-o'-lantern on the kitchen table at Halloween, fire going. One day I just thought it'd be cool to stick a piece of paper in there and see what happens. I was about 6, almost lit the house on fire. I deserved it. I never did it again after getting paddled, so. Point 5. This came up yesterday, and I didn't have time to really get into it. The body cam footage released of Masai Ujiri's altercation in Golden State the night the Raptors won the NBA championship. Listen, it's one thing for the body cam footage to have come out last night where the security guard, you all know what we're talking about, the Raptors president got into an altercation with a security guard. Security guard said Masai instigated it. He was backed by the sheriff's office. And then the video came out this week from Masai's legal team showing completely opposite, which is all fine. There's a horrible slew of things that come out with that, saying how much of these guys and gals been living with that we didn't even know about for years. As Leo Roughton said on SportsCenter, this is why we kneel. I get it, but the sheriff's office is doubling down in Golden State. Have you seen the latest on that? We stand by the security guard that says he did not start the altercation. What more do you need?
I know.
All I can say is let's go to court and let's let the judge or the jury have a look at the video and we'll decide who's right here. It doesn't make sense.
We've all been in these situations. Not that exactly, but when a police officer in a vehicle drives up beside you or pulls up behind you, and you see them when you're driving to work, or a security guard is in your way walking in the basketball court like that, or you see the police officers with their guns on the streets in Mexico in their little hut there, it raises the temperature, right? Just them being there, the presence raises the temperature that something might be going down, that there's something going on. So for Masai, he's supposed to be there. It's all normal. You're the NBA championship, but for a security guard, you kind of want to be, if you're just there just to keep the peace, and you kind of want to be on the outside, not seen, not heard, just there to monitor, right?
Yeah.
He put himself right in the middle of it.
Well, a viewer in Edmonton says the video can show one thing, but does it show the full altercation? Maybe it doesn't. You should watch the video before you speak. Because the video very clearly shows Masai Ujiri walking onto the floor towards the court where he's fumbling for his credentials, where the security guard gets right up in his face and starts shoving him back. Masai didn't do a thing. So don't talk until you've had a look at it. Please and thank you.
Yeah, he's in the middle of the aisle. It's not like he's standing at the court, checking passes to let people go in and out. He doesn't need to be in that spot at all.
Viewer Kyle Kerr says, hey, Rod, the issue is that their union would crucify the Golden State Police Force if he threw him under the bus. Listen, the video talks. For years and for hundreds of years, we've had his word against the other guy's word. He said, she said. Now there's video. So don't talk to me about the union. Talk to me about what's right. Period. You knew that it would be an interesting topic.
Yeah.
And here we are. And I don't know if we're ever going to be done with this stuff. Moving on, as I'll say again here on this section, the rollout for Flooring Superstores, our guests are Jim Lawson, Tim Hunter, Julie Stewart-Binks, and formerly of CBC Costa Americas, who's launching his own show tonight in real time with Costa Americas in this studio. You can vote at the end of the day for the rock star of the day for Rockstar Supply Chain Solutions, proud partners of the RP Show. Yesterday's rock star for a second consecutive day was Nick Lewis. The people really love Nick Lewis.
Clearly.
That's clearly it. Just want to say again, Canada's game of the week in our CFL Sim League, that is esports, computer-generated games through Doug Flutie's Maximum Football, will be Edmonton at Saskatchewan, Friday night, 7 p.m. Mountain. We'll be calling the game on this Facebook Live channel. If you're watching on Facebook Live, just search The Rod Pedersen Show. If you're not, if you're watching on Game right now, and you will get fantastic Canadian Football League action between 2-6 and 2 teams, Edmonton, Saskatchewan. The fans voted it Canada's game of the week. Some leftovers from yesterday's show, because so much stuff goes down on a daily basis. You kind of leave the studio and go, man, we should have delved into that a little more.
I know.
The president of the Saskatchewan Junior Hockey League, Bill Chow, saying that their targeted start date now is October 9th. That's interesting to note because the Manitoba Junior Hockey League has said the same thing. It's similar all across the land. You see the Quebec Major Junior Leagues, October 1st. So from what I can gather, the first announcement or confirmation that the SJHL season will begin October 9th was right here on this show with the league president, Bill Chow. And he also said, I'll paraphrase, but he said, listen, Rod, I get it. Yours and my priority is hockey. It's not the government's priority. And Bill was a police officer for 30 years with the Prince Albert City Police, and it's tough for me to get my head around, but he's right. My thoughts are the overly precautious nature of how the coronavirus is being defended is another matter. But if what it takes is to wait a little longer to watch hockey, calm down. It's kind of what he was saying, and he's right.
Yeah.
Or to play hockey or whatever. Cam Newton, by the way, saw this morning on ESPN Get Up, chirping the defense at New England Patriots practice. And what's interesting about that is I'm watching the correspondent for New England, the Patriots reporter on ESPN, saying, hey, Cam Newton pulled the ball down and spun it up the middle in a 7-on-7 drill, or maybe it was team, whatever, and he started beaking at the defense. And just everybody went, whoa! This hasn't happened in New England for over 20 years. Could you see Tom Brady doing that to his own teammates?
No.
Here's Cam Newton, and they said 6'5", 240. He is a fridge moving through the defense, and nobody obviously wanted to put his hand on him. But that's Cam Newton. That's a bit of the swagger that he brings to the New England Patriots.
That's a massive shot of good news for Patriots fans, because everybody needs to be in their zone. The zone doesn't look the same. Tom, when he gets those laser, death stare eyes, and
LeBron gets him too,
and he just wants to pick you apart. He's not. I mean, he gets vocal, but he's not a showman in that kind of flashy way. But Cam Newton is. And so when Cam Newton's, flaunting the swagger, and he's, his chest is a little bit bigger, and he's walking the walk, and he's talking the talk, that's a dangerous Cam Newton. And if he's doing that consistently, the Patriots will be fine.
They might be the number one story in the NFL this year, even more so than Tom Brady in Tampa Bay, is Cam Newton and these Patriots. And will they win another division title with a new quarterback, the one that was the left for dead Cam? As Cam said.
Oh, yeah.
And the last point, because this isn't in the quick six, but I'm watching the Arizona-Colorado game last night, and Pierre Maguire of the NHL and NBC just trolling the Leafs. Did you see the end of that game?
I did not.
Do you? I should have pulled you and Clark together and just talked about this, the two Leaf fans in the room. But Pierre Maguire said, and by the way, Kenny Albert didn't pick it up, the play-by-play guy. But as the Avs were shaking hands, and they said Nazem Kadri and the Avalanche moving on to round 2. Everybody in Colorado saying this is what we were missing, Nazem Kadri. And Pierre Maguire laughed, and he goes, maybe not a good idea to run your team on analytics. And Kenny Albert, the play-by-play guy, goes, referring obviously to the Arizona Coyotes. I'm like, no, he's not, Kenny. He's referring to the Leafs. Getting rid of Nazem Kadri because he didn't fit the Shanna plan, which whatever that is. How does that feel to see Nazem Kadri scoring twice yesterday in an elimination game and moving on to round 2? Can't feel too good.
You know what it actually does?
Why?
Because I like Kadri, and I really liked him in Toronto. It's disappointing that he left because, I would love to go. I try and make the trip to Edmonton or Calgary to watch the Leafs when they make their trip through. And it would be Kadri that would be tasked to shut down Connor McDavid. And he did it both times that I went and watched him very successfully. Bit of a thorn in the side of the other fans. They don't like him. He's got some skills, different things. But he started buying into the role of being a shutdown defensive guy who can score 30 goals a season under Babcock. And, I like seeing him have the success now. It sucks that he's not a Leaf.
Our viewer, John Schmidt, writes in, the Habs fan. He says, Kenny Albert doesn't know a hockey puck from a tennis ball. I don't know. He's been calling NHL for a long time. He's certainly won the genetic lottery, but he's a good broadcaster, too. We got a big announcement out of Toronto. Next, special guest Jim Lawson joining us from Woodbine. It's the RP Show. This has been the Rollout for Flooring Superstores. You're watching across North America on the Game Plus TV network and listening and watching around the world on Facebook Live.
You're watching Rod Pedersen on demand. For more of the Rod Pedersen Show, visit rodpedersen.com or follow Rod Pedersen on social media.